Hi, this is Nancy Yearout, and welcome to my show, High Road to Humanity. In every episode, I tell you powerful true stories filled with great wisdom that you can use in your own life as you strive for a higher road to travel. My featured guests will have their own unique stories to tell that enlighten your mind and your soul. So kick back, relax, and learn the secret to success when you take the high road.
First touch, strong connection, it lays deep in your soul.
Hi, it's Nancy Yearout, and welcome to High Road to Humanity. And guess who's with me today? Servette Hassan is here today, and she's got this really awesome book. I'm going to hold it up. If you're watching me on YouTube, it is Growing Old Sucks. Okay, so make sure you share this with everybody you know who is growing old, which is all of us. Okay, so there you have it. Before I bring her on, I want to talk about what's happening with humanity. And what I'm going to talk about first is the inauguration is tomorrow with Biden. And but what's crazy is, and I saw this on the news, and so I pulled this up, the National Guard, has been called in for the inauguration, which I don't know, it seems extreme, but then it says, I just pulled this up, 2 of the U.S. Army National Guard members are being removed from President-elect Joe Biden's presidential inauguration security mission after an investigation uncovered ties to fringe right-wing militias, the Associated Press reported. No plot against Biden was found. So the U.S. Army officials and a senior U.S. intelligence official spoke to AP on the condition of anonymity because of Defense Department media regulations. They did not say what fringe group the Guard members belonged to or what unit they served in. But due to the operational security, they say we do not discuss the process nor the outcome of the vetting process for military members. Now, I heard Governor Abbott out of Texas really upset about this because he's like, hey, these guys are in the National Guard. Why are we vetting them? But then on the flip side, we're seeing that maybe they need to be vetted. What do you think, Servette?
Well, duh. I mean, we just had an insurgence on our capital. I think they should be taking every possible precaution that they can. And they got an inkling, I understand. I mean, you've read more about it than I have so far today. I'm an hour behind you. So,
No,
but
that's
they had an inkling on social media that a couple of these wing wiggy people were going to pretend that they were going to disguise themselves as police officers. So they have been up to the security on that, and they're vetting even better now than they were already doing. So I don't know why the guy in Texas is upset, but he shouldn't be.
Well, because I'll tell you why he's upset, and I'll tell you my opinion on this. I believe that, and I know a lot of guys that are in the National Guard or have been in the National Guard. My first husband was in the military. In fact, my daughter was born on Fort Knox, believe it or not. I don't know if you know that, Servette. But yeah, I was a military wife for a while. And, when you're in the military, I mean, they really do vet you. So it is kind of almost like, questioning people's integrity. But I guess that's where the world has become. And that's the sad part, because I was a military wife and I know,
Right.
how these guys really take their jobs seriously. And so it's a catch-22 on this one, I have to say.
I agree.
It is.
Bet at this point
It's
in
so
time,
tough. It's so tough.
better safe than sorry.
There you go. Well, I got some good news. I always pull good news, Servette.
I love good
So
news.
here we go. When this pastor's bike was stolen, his response was to start a free bicycle repair service for people in need. Now, here we go. So for most people, having property stolen feels like a violation, but Robbie Pruitt admits that when his mountain bike was swiped last September, I'd be upset if my bike was swiped. Instead of getting mad, his emotions turned to, hey, let his anger and his frustration go, and he found himself on a road to compassion instead. He's an avid biker, and Pruitt's first priority was to replace his ride, but when he went bike shopping, he found the picking slim. The scarcity of inventory got him thinking, what if the lack of bikes was pandemic related? Well, yeah. And what if the person who'd taken his had done so because they truly needed transportation to get to work? Oh my gosh. Isn't that a cool way of looking at things?
Yes. I mean,
With that, yeah. So with that thought in mind, Pruitt, an assistant rector at the Church of the Holy Spirit in Leesburg, Virginia, I got to give credit here, came up with a plan and posted it to a local Facebook group. Pruitt offered to fix bikes free for charge for anybody who needed it. So that is really cool. That's our good news for today. What do you think?
awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome. I mean,
Awesome.
he's a true spiritual person. I
See,
mean,
there you
that's
go.
where we should all go,
Yeah.
you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna like introduce you properly here, Servette. So Servette Hassan is here today. She's been here before. So if you watch my show, you know who she is. She's a best-selling co-author of Growing Old Sucks, holding the book up. This is such a cool book, you guys. But it doesn't have to. How to Age with Attitude. I like that. The award-winning author of Life in Transition, An Intuitive Path to New Beginnings, as well as The Intuitive Heart of Romance, Finding Your Own Path to Lasting Love, and Turn Him On. The latter 3 published by Llewellyn Worldwide Ltd. She was also the host of the radio show Intuitive Inc., where she interviewed authors about raising consciousness for themselves and the planet. She's a renowned motivational speaker who inspires others to attain their full potential through her television and radio appearances, live seminars, and workshops. She's born into a psychically gifted family from Pakistan, and she's also a citizen of England, Canada, and the United States. So she considers herself a spiritual ambassador of the world. Welcome, Servette.
Thank you. And thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I truly do.
I love you, Servette. You're one of my, people don't know this, but I've known Servette for, gosh, probably
Long time.
15 more years, something like that, maybe.
Wow.
Long
Yes,
time. See, I'm
I
aging
think
myself.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm dating myself because no one else will date
Oh,
me.
shit. Okay. Well, tell me, is that why you wrote this book, Servette? Why did you write this book? And you wrote it along with, and I have to give Mark Ellen a little plug in
Shout
here.
out.
Yeah, because, and I should have probably invited him, but I just know you, so I invited you. But he gives his opinion. So you guys, the way this works, I'll tell you really quick, is that she gives her opinion about stuff, and then he gives his opinion. But Servette, why'd you write it?
He had the idea for it, and he had growingoldsucks.com for like 10 years. And
Seriously.
I said, did you ever do anything with that? He said, no. And I said, okay, let's just do a book, and it will, both of us, and I'll get it all together. You just put your opinion in after me, and let's talk about it, because a lot of people are afraid to get old, and the alternative sucks worse than getting old. So I said, let's talk about it, because I'm in my 60s, and I said, it's just a number, and we really need to get it out there that this can be the best time of your life. Right. So I talked him into it, and it took him a while to get around to doing it. And I finally just said, look, if you don't give me your chapters, I will take what I've got and I'll call it something else, and I'll see ya. And
wow.
I kicked his butt, and he was glad I did, because he got it done. Good. And it turned out to be a cute book. I mean, it's really is informative. Yeah. And there's a quote in the very beginning that I'm going to read from David Bowie, because it sort of sums up where I was going with this. Nice. Okay. David Bowie said, aging is an extraordinary process where you become the person you always should have been. Mm-hmm. And that's what I wanted to write about. I wanted to write about
Servette. That's right.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to write about how I'm finally now in my 60s, and I can be me. Right. Completely.
Because who cares, right? What do you got to lose? I mean, come on. And I have to say, I love that. I agree with it so wholeheartedly, because I'm in my late 50s now. I got a birthday coming up this month. But, I have finally gotten to the point where I don't care what other people think.
Well, right. And I started, I've been doing this. I've been doing spiritual books, and I've been studying it for 100 years at least. Yeah. And one of my first teachers was Terry Cole Whitaker, who was like the Joel Osteen of the 80s, 70s, 80s. Mm-hmm. And she was huge. And her first bestseller was What You Think of Me Is None of My Business. Mm-hmm. And it's so true, but you don't get that until you live a little and get around a little, and you realize, hey, this is my life to live exactly as I choose, and no more excuses. And part of that, Nancy, was me getting cancer. I at 59 was diagnosed with a very rare form of ovarian cancer called it's clear cell, which is like very rare and the fastest killing cancer. So I was faced with my own mortality, and
And
I
you kicked
really,
its ass.
yeah.
That's what you always say.
From your gods to, yeah. But I honestly believe that, hey, you don't have a minute to waste.
Right.
I got an expiration date given to me that was a little sooner than I expected.
And you
And
said, no, I'm not going to go for that.
it turned out to be wrong. It could have turned out to be right. It doesn't matter. Everybody has an expiration date, whether they realize it or not. Most people just don't know when it is. So make the most of every day. Make the most of every opportunity. Just live life with attitude. That's what I wanted to get across in this book.
Well, you did. I think you did. Hey, we got about 2 minutes before we go to commercial break, and I like that you say how to age with attitude. But you talk about being your authentic self. And Mark says, I wrote down a few quotes from him too. Staying younger and thinking younger makes growing old an adventure.
Right. Exactly.
That's
and the
neat.
adventure doesn't have to be jumping out of airplanes at the age of 80. I'm not going to do that now, even. There's no, not going to happen. It can just be little things,
Right.
little small changes that can change your whole world. I mean, I don't know, just even simply brushing your teeth with a different hand can keep your mind more active.
Yeah, and you talk about that in the book too. When we come back from commercial break, I want to talk about our appearance changes and we don't realize it, because that's happened to me, and I think it's happened to a lot of people. And so we need to talk about that. And that's, where the spiritual part comes in. Hey, you guys, I'm here today with Servet Hassan. Her book is called Growing Old Sucks, but It Doesn't Have to. Okay. And you can pick it up on Amazon.com, I'm sure. Is that right, Servet? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
And before I get out of here, and one more thing I have to say, I forgot to mention, gosh, my new class started today, you guys, Intuitive Business Practices. So I am teaching you guys how to use your intuition in your business to be prosperous. And these are all the tricks of the trade that I learned when I was in the real estate business. And so I'm teaching them to you. Go to my website, nancyyearout.com. This is High Road to Humanity. This is Nancy Yearout. We'll be right back.
You went away for a second.
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry. It blanked out. So can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, okay. All
Give me
right.
10 seconds. Hi, it's Nancy Yearout. This is High Road to Humanity. I'm here today with Servet Hassan. We're talking about growing old. And I brought up our appearances change because that's in the book, but we don't realize it, because I can remember a time where I looked in the mirror and thought, oh, I don't look the same. Or let me just tell you this will floor you. So I go to the MVD, right? Maybe 5-6 years ago. And in New Mexico to renew my driver's license. And the lady she like prints out all the pictures from all the years. Yeah, no kidding. And she shows them. Yeah, And she shows them to me, and she's like, "Look, honey." I'm just like, "Oh my gosh!"
Oh my!
I watched myself age, right? At the motor vehicle department. All my pictures down the line. I didn't know she had that capability, but whoa, that was a rude awakening. So, having said that, Servet.
They've never done that here in California that I know of. I mean, I just can't even imagine. And then what would people be, falling apart, looking down at their
from here to, oh wow, look at my hair. Oh.
Yeah. I mean, and those DMV pictures are not exactly the best shots ever.
Talk about this.
They seem to pick the worst shot. I mean, I cover my picture when I show someone.
Yeah, but I still look better when I was younger.
It's like, don't look at the picture. It's like, it doesn't even look like me. Yes, we are going to age, and yes, that things change. And I dated a guy, oh, I don't know, 6, 7, before I had cancer. And that's kind of how I found out I had cancer. But anyway, he woke up one day and he was hysterical. And I thought somebody died. He's like, I just looked, my eyelashes are gray. And I thought to myself, oh, poor thing. And they'd been gray since I met him, like for 2 years.
Right.
Just
But
never,
he didn't know.
he didn't notice. He never noticed. And suddenly he saw it, and it was like, oh my God, I'm starting to look old. And I said, well, that it's better than not, being dead.
You're here.
I mean, it beats that. You know what I think we need to do? I mean, because I had cancer, I am never going to, and I never have, get injectables and Botox and maybe a little lifty thingy. I'm not ever going to do that because
I've never done it either. And I'm going to agree with you. Because I got to say, can I interject really quick? Every time I see somebody who's done it, like my favorite movie stars, they look like deformed. They look like clowns. And I think, oh my God, why would she have done that? And I won't mention any names because I'm a nice girl. But my goodness, it's some of these people, you're just like, why would you do that to yourself?
Well, I was in a hotel in LA and I was getting coffee in the morning, and I happened to be standing next to Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Okay.
And I real quick, like it was a 2-minute thing. And I walked away, and then someone said to me, oh my God, were you, didn't even look? And I was like, what? I didn't recognize her. I did not recognize her.
Because she's changed her appearance so dramatically.
Yeah. And it must have been just done because.
See, that's how I feel about Meg Ryan.
Yes.
I love Meg Ryan.
No names, but it's
obvious. I know. Yeah, I'm gonna spurt it out there. Meg Ryan. I love her.
You can't, I know, but I mean, there was one scene with her at some award show and I didn't know it was her.
Yeah.
Till they said it out loud. So, I mean, but that's what happens. And also I don't want foreign stuff in my body. Right. So
it'll kill you quicker.
I'm just embracing me.
Well, but let me say this, Servette. Mark says in the book, he talks about how when men get their gray hair, how they look all debonair. And then for women, it's like, oh, did you see how old she looked?
Yeah.
I mean, we got to change that whole persona thing.
There's a double standard, and the only way we can change it, I think, as generations, as the younger generations age, is to not care, to just like, I don't care what you think of me, and just be who you are, because there is such a double standard, especially in Hollywood. You look at the George Clooney's and you go, wow, he looks better all the time. So, but I mean, but for women, it's hard. They can't find work anymore. They can't, there's a very much a double standard. And I hope that we're all working on that, because it's just another ism, ageism, racism, whatever. This is just another ism that over time, I think we will equalize.
Well, yeah, and I'll throw the spiritual thing in, because as you're talking about this, I'm thinking as we elevate, as our consciousness, as we start to become more conscious, we start to realize it's the inside that is our gold, that is our treasure, that is the jewel. It's inside us, not outside of us. And our, over the years, I've had a lot of guys say, oh, you're so good looking and I want to hang out with you. But you rarely hear somebody say, wow, you're just a really cool person. And I like who you are as a person. Like, you're really smart and you really have great ideas. And those are the things that turn you on when you get older.
Well, yeah. And it's partly it's a cultural American thing too. Yeah. I mean, there are other cultures where in Japan and other places where the elders are revered.
I know, they're honored, which they should be.
Yes. And so, I think that will come around as we shift consciousness as well. Right. I mean, it was here with the Native Americans, and hopefully it will come back where we look to them for their sage advice and their spiritual growth and everything else that they can offer.
You're right.
As opposed to you're a hot looking old chick, Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? The older people are who have the knowledge, who know the stuff. I love
Right.
talking to people who are older than me because they know more than me because they've lived longer
Right.
than me. And that's just how it is. And my kids think they know all kinds of stuff, but they don't know because they haven't lived as long as I do.
Right.
But we
And
thought that too, right?
right. And I just spent a little bit of time at a distance, socially distanced outside with a 97-year-old
Okay.
and a woman that I know. And
Okay.
it was her birthday. And so we were all very, conscious because she's elderly. And I
Mhm,
said to her, I said, what's the one piece of advice you would give me?
mhm.
A 97. And, she said, she's smiling and she just said, don't waste any time.
Right.
No time to waste.
It's the only thing
And
you
I
can't
was,
get more of. Yeah.
and the other thing I asked her how she lived as long as she has. And she said, I don't worry. No matter what's going on, no matter how bad things get.
Wow.
She said, I don't ignore it or deny it. I just don't worry
I
about
love
it.
that.
And I loved that. Isn't that
Yes.
cool?
Yeah, well, but it's true
Yes.
because that's why everybody talks about being present and living in the now, because when you live in the now, you
Mhm.
don't worry. And it's true. And you get to a point where you start to observe. I'm to a point now where I'm observing my own thoughts and I'm like, oh, why would I think
Right.
that? Yeah.
Right.
But you get to a point when you work on yourself that you do that and you think, oh no. And you kind of just let that thought go.
It doesn't do, I mean, guilt and worry and fear are the three most,
Mhm.
unnecessary things on earth. I mean, you might need a little fear to keep safe, but essentially they don't accomplish anything, you
Right.
know? So
Mhm.
basically and training in my meditation as a young person,
Mhm.
like 45 years ago, that was the one thing I learned in the beginning is how to transcend that so
Mhm.
that you're not in it. It's
Mhm.
there, but you're not in it.
But
You
you're not in it.
just,
You're watching it just kind of go by you.
right. You can't, denial is not spiritually or psychologically sound. So you can't,
Right.
throw it away or throw pink
Pretend it's
paint on
not
it.
there.
It's pretty and pretend it's not there. So you do have to deal with it. But the
Mhm.
way you deal with it is not to deny it, but to transcend it, to
Mhm.
rise above it.
Mhm.
So it's there, but you're not in it.
I love it.
Does
You
that make
know,
sense?
complete sense because but it took me all this time to get to that point. So I'm just
Well,
okay.
I've been doing this a long time.
Yeah, I'm a slow learner on certain things. Some things I got
Yeah.
quicker, other things I didn't. I want to talk about diet and exercise and stuff like that because this is what I believe. And you wrote a lot about it in the book. I mean, you talk about diet, you talk about weight loss, you talk about
Mhm.
what we should put in our body. And, that's really, really important because I believe that if you're healthy and you work out and you eat right, then your mind works good, you live longer. I mean, you don't want to live to your 80 in a body that can't get you around. You got to
Right.
take care of the body that you're in because we're these energetic beings
Right.
in these bodies, but some people don't take care of them and then they die young or whatever. And everybody's like, oh, I wonder what happened. So talk about that.
Yeah, you're very much into this. You're very physically fit,
Yes.
So and then like I said, you don't have to start jumping out of airplanes or anything like that, but get up and move.
Mhm.
Move. Just get up and move. Whatever that takes. I mean, I walk 3 miles a day. Because I had a dog. Now my dog, my darling, passed in August.
Oh, I'm
um,
sorry,
the
Servette.
love of my life. She was almost
Oh.
11, a month shy of 11. My best friend. And
Oh.
don't tell anybody, but she wrote all my books, all 7 of them. But anyway, I can, instead of stopping, I just continued. I mean, I just act like she's still walking with me every morning, and we're up to 5 miles now. So
Oh, wow.
I do that every day, rain,
Oh, wow.
snow, no matter what. It's kind of meditative too, but
Yeah.
it's just what the key, I think, is to do something you enjoy doing,
Right.
because otherwise you set yourself up for failure and you
Mhm.
won't do it. Oh, I'm going to go to the gym 4 days a week. And well, right now you can't here in California anyway,
Right.
but
You can't hear either.
if you set yourself up to go every day, you're not going to go every day. And then you just give up on it altogether. So I'd rather somebody do something that just works for them and keeps them in motion, and energetically and mentally in motion too. And also diet, I mean, come on, we all know the older you get, the harder it is.
I know. Let's talk about diet when we come back from commercial break. Is that
Okay.
all right? Cool.
All right.
Hey, you guys, I'm here today with Servet Hassan. We could just talk for hours, her and I. Her book's called Growing Old Sucks, but it doesn't have to. It's very, very good. You need to pick this up on Amazon. How to Age with Attitude. This is Nancy Year Out. This is High Road to Humanity, and we will be right back.
Cool.
Hi, this is Nancy Year Out. I'm here with Servet Hassan. We're talking about growing old and how it doesn't have to suck. So Servet, talk to us about diet, because we talked a little bit about exercise, and I agree with you. God, Oprah said that such a long time ago. Get up and get moving, you know, and
Yeah.
that's stuck in my head. And she was
It's true.
absolutely right about
It's
that.
true.
So,
It's
and yeah, what you said is do something. And I just want to interject really quick. I was riding my bike all the time, and then it got cold, and now I can't ride my bike. So I got one of those stationary bikes coming, you know, and I'm going to do that because I don't want to not, I mean, I've got my elliptical or whatever, and it's cold to walk outside. So, I mean, you know, in this COVID time, you guys think outside the box a little bit and figure
Yeah.
out how you can still work out. That's
right.
it.
Well, there's a lot of really good stuff online too.
Okay.
You
Okay.
know, all of my friends are doing Tai Chi in their living room and
Yeah.
yoga moves with videos and with online courses, and they're free.
Yeah.
I mean, you can take advantage of that because really, honestly, they're 30 minutes usually, and they make you move, even if you're not jumping up and down and being out in the cold. You know, it's not, it's good. Diet is, you know, crucial. I don't care how old you are, diet is crucial.
Yes.
You know, I mean, it's, you could be 20 or 30 and you still really, honestly, but as you age, your metabolism is going to slow down. You've got to move more, and you can't eat what you used to eat. It's just not going to happen. And so I really am big because of my cancer and everything else. Almost everything I consume is organic.
Okay.
It's also non-GMO.
Why?
So I would rather eat less of something that's organic than, or pay a little bit more and buy less things or whatever to accommodate that.
Because of the pesticides is what you're
Yes.
saying. Yes.
It's crucial right now because so
Mhm.
many things, especially my primary doctor, my internist said the most dangerous is wheat, bread, and things like that. They don't care what they put in there, and he said, so make sure that if nothing else, that's organic, and you can really tell the difference. I had a regular apple the other day by mistake, and I could tell it wasn't organic.
Yeah, it doesn't taste the same.
No.
It doesn't taste the
So
same.
I think that's key. I also think that if you're not getting enough vitamins and minerals as you age, you need more zinc, you need maybe glucosamine, you need more things that are helping your bones, especially calcium for women.
Mhm.
Osteoporosis, I mean, the way to combat that is 10,000 steps a day at
Yeah.
least,
I love
and
it.
to
I love it.
exercise, and then to eat right. So we need things in our bodies that we didn't before, like calcium and like zinc and things like that. So
Mhm.
eating well is key, but I'm really a staunch supporter of organic and non-GMO and non-processed. Stay away from crap.
I know. It always makes me sick. Now that I don't see, I eat really well, but if I cheat and I eat like something that's processed, my body rejects it, and I know it immediately. And I don't eat meat anymore, Servet,
At
because
all?
not at all.
Wow. Good.
No, I quit because I just felt like they were putting so many hormones and so much stuff in this meat. Don't get me wrong, I like the steak like everybody else, but I couldn't get past what they're doing to these
Well,
animals and what they're putting in there. And then you watch a few videos, and then, you know, it's not, I don't know. And I don't drink as much as I used to. I used to drink a glass of wine every night, but the sugar, as you get older, and this has just happened to me, and it could be because I'm just talking from my own experience, but the sugar has really gotten to me and I can't drink wine anymore. I mean, I want to have a glass of wine. My mind wants to have a glass of wine, but my body says, it rejects it now.
Well, you know, I live alone. So,
Yeah.
and I'm not having wine right now. I'm having coffee, but I have a cocktail napkin that says wine is my Valentine. You can't take my wine away.
Okay.
But you know what I do?
What do you do?
I'm just more careful with it. It's one glass before I go to bed. It's
That's not bad. Everything in moderation.
red wine is the only kind of wine you should drink as you age too, because it's actually good for your body.
Okay.
And it just makes me sleepy and I'm done. And
you're good.
I don't, you can't drink like you used to. And
No.
especially men, if they keep it up, they get that big, you see that big belly.
Well, and I've noticed with men who drink for a long period of time that they lose their memory.
Yeah.
No, really. Alcohol affects people. People don't realize that. They think, oh, I can go home at night and have alcohol over, like hard liquor I'm talking about,
Right.
And I've
right.
seen that where people, it ages them, number one, the hard liquor. I'm not talking about a glass of wine now, Servat.
No.
Talking about coming home at night and having a Jack and Coke or a vodka or a martini, and
Right.
it's interesting because, on TV, oh, let's have a martini. But, here's the thing, martinis, after a while, that alcohol does get to you when you're drinking hard liquor.
Right.
For
And
over the year.
also, there's like 3 shots of vodka in a martini. It's not just one.
So
It's
hey,
not just one shot. It's a couple of shots of vodka in there, or gin,
Yeah.
or whatever you
put in it,
and
yeah,
it's straight alcohol, so it's really bad for you.
it's like killing you. I mean, I'm like,
Right. So I
I
think
don't
you
know.
have to drink if you
No
really
judgment, no judgment, no judgment.
No,
But
and I don't, whatever
Yeah.
people do is whatever they do.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I suggest if you do want to drink as you age, that you limit it to red wine.
I agree with that. I
Yeah.
agree with that. Something else you said in here, which I was like, oh my God, she's right, is salad. Why can't I eat salad and I'm like ill. I can't eat salad anymore. And you talk about that in the book.
Yeah. What did I say? No,
Darn it, I did read this.
I think it's been a while. When you write a book and it comes out and then finally
Well, no, you just said that your body doesn't process it like it used to.
it doesn't process it like it used to. So I don't even understand kale. I am not. It tastes like grass. I'm like, I don't care what you do to it. I don't care.
Oh my God, it still tastes like grass.
It still tastes like grass. And I'm like, I'm not eating
God.
kale. I might do a little romaine and stuff, but I've gotten very creative. And that's key too, is to get creative with what you eat. Because I buy organic romaine and I grill it.
Oh, cool.
Do like a warm salad that's absolutely delicious. So trying new things, and still staying healthy is good for you too. But that's key to aging anyway, is to continually learn.
Mm-hmm. I was going to talk about that.
You
Yes,
gotta
go
get
for that.
your mind active and
Yes.
and continually engaged.
Right.
Which is easier than people think. You can just take a different route to the grocery store. Don't get out of a rut. Like I said, something as simple as brushing your teeth with your opposite hand. If you do it with your right hand, try brushing your teeth with your left hand, or your hair, or taking a different route to the store, going to a different store than you normally would go to, and having to look for things, trying out new recipes, trying out new games and crosswords and things that keep your mind engaged. Anything, and then try to learn something new.
Mm-hmm.
If you have something on your bucket list, especially with COVID right now,
Right.
try to get into I've always wanted to learn to play the piano.
Oh, wow.
I'm not but it's on my list, and I'm learning languages right now instead, because I speak a lot of languages, but unless you keep using them, you lose them.
Right.
So I'm brushing up on my French. I'm brushing Spanish, Italian. I also speak Urdu, which is kind of useless, but it's nice to
What is
talk to
that?
my parents.
Oh,
It's
okay. Okay.
it's um it's a dialect of Arabic.
I see.
So I think it's really key to not only exercise your body, but exercise your mind,
I agree.
and and also to attain some sort of spiritual practice.
Yes.
Because as we age, we are entering into the best time of our life, but the twilight. And
Mhm.
so I think it's important that we connect with who we are
Mhm.
and what we really want and what we really want to give and receive, to be spiritually whole as
Right.
much as we can as we get up there.
That's really well said. That's really well said, Servat. That's true.
Yeah.
I think that's where I'm at too. You know,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
not about how much money you make or how
right.
many people you, or how many cars you. I mean,
Yeah, it
I
doesn't
know.
matter, does it? You can't take it
No,
with
I
you.
know this from having
Mhm.
had the cancer and going through a lot of money because I couldn't work for, a good year. And also it's expensive. I mean, the surgery and the chemo and all of that stuff. I'm still here, thank God, but I don't care. I don't care about the money because you know what? Well, it doesn't do you any good if you're dead.
Right.
You can't. Oh, you have a retirement fund, but if you, it doesn't do you any good if you're not here. So I kind of really, and I think that happens as you age anyway. You
You
learn
start to
that,
think what's important and what's not.
right, and what is important. What is
Mhm.
important? What's important is love,
Yes.
and that's what you get when you're on your way out the door.
I
You
agree with you wholeheartedly. I do.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to commercial break on that.
Okay.
Love. Yes. That is
Mhm.
actually what the most important thing is. Hey, I'm here with Servet San. Her book is called Growing Old Sucks, but it doesn't have to. How to Age with Attitude. I'm holding it up if you're watching me on YouTube. This is Nancy Yearout. This is High Road to Humanity, and we will be right back. Hey, it's Nancy Yearout. I'm here with Servet Hassan. We're talking about aging. Servet, I was going to mention multivitamins. I've been taking this really good multivitamin and it's really been better for me. I don't know if
Mhm.
you've heard about them, New Chapter vitamins.
No.
Okay, try them. I've been
I
taking it and it's helped me a lot. A friend of mine told me about it and I'm like, okay, I'll try. And it's a multivitamin and I feel like 100 times better than I did before.
Okay. I think the
So,
one vitamin everybody is missing is vitamin D.
oh, really?
So
Okay.
I think that's something, and I'm not a doctor. So
Okay.
I'm going to be the first one to say, listen, if you feel like you should take something like that, I really want people to consult a doctor. They don't think and the brand, that's up to you. And if it works for you, great. But some people don't understand that a lot of vitamins will counteract other medication or may not be suitable for you. I think everyone should get a blood panel and then go from there, because
And
a
see
lot
what
of
it says.
times they're
Yeah.
taking vitamins and they don't know what they're doing,
Yeah, but the vitamins kind of, if you don't need it, what I've learned is if you don't need that vitamin, it kind of just washes through you.
Yeah. Well, it can, but
So
again, it can counteract other things that you don't know.
the only time I had trouble was when, and I will mention this because in case this has happened to anybody else, turmeric has been like a big thing, in the last
Mhm.
few years for arthritis. And I want to mention that my doctor had mentioned that I should try the turmeric because it's more of a natural, thing. And I did, and I got ill. I mean, so ill. Like, didn't realize what was wrong with me for probably a month or two. Just thought I was going to die. This happened like a year or two ago.
Wow.
And yeah, and I finally figured it out. We had gone somewhere and there was no TV and my stomach was gurgling, but it was gurgling right after I took the vitamin. Then I kind of realized
Yeah.
and I stopped taking it. So I was allergic to turmeric. So it maybe was helping my arthritis, but it was making me deathly ill. So you are correct. You
Right.
have to be careful about what you take. And if it doesn't agree with you, I mean, immediately stop taking it. But see, the doctor said take it. So I was like, oh yeah, okay.
Well,
and it just didn't
yeah,
work,
and it has,
you know?
it does have good benefits for a lot of people. I,
Right.
when it comes to something like that though, I use real turmeric. I mean, I won't buy a pill or a processed one. I'll just put it in my food.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
because turmeric in from Pakistan and India, where I was born, that
Mhm.
is in everything you cook. It's
So
in
you think it's different than what comes in that capsule form? Well,
right.
that's
So
interesting.
pay attention. That's a good point, Nancy. Really well said and a good point, because just because a doctor says to take it,
Yeah.
that, you know, pay attention to your own body.
Yeah.
Also, I think that like I said, I think that it's good to have your blood work done just to
Yeah.
see what
Right.
is missing. That'll
I have
tell.
mine done once a year. It's interesting too, because I stopped eating meat. Now check this out. So I stopped eating meat, but I kept drinking. This is a few years back, right? So then
Right.
I had the blood work done and he's like, no, your blood work's still bad. But then I stopped drinking and had the blood work done a year later and he's like, everything's perfect. So for me, but it's because I'm like borderline diabetic anyway. So for me,
Right.
it was the sugar that
Mhm.
was really affecting me. So it is, you're exactly right. You need to have your blood work done. And I say once a year is fine, you know, unless you've got something going on and they want you to go back. But it shows you exactly where you're at and what you need to work on. And that's really
Right.
cool. Hey, you say in here in the book, dying to be dead, waiting to die. I mean, there's these people out there. Talk about that, Servat, because
They,
this is our
they,
last.
I'm sure you know someone. I'm sure you know someone. They've like
Yeah.
thrown in the towel, and they're a little older, and basically their whole world revolves around their bowel movements and their doctor's appointments. And that's it, you
I
know? And I'm
know.
like, they've stopped living. And I don't think we have enough time for that. You know, the other thing too is time is an interesting thing, because it kind of doesn't really exist, but that's a whole other story.
Right.
But and you don't really die anyway, but you go on to another. But the thing is that you know, when you're 50 and you get to 60, it doesn't feel like it goes pretty quick. But when you get to 60, it's like a year is like it's like gone in a
Quick.
flash.
It
Time
goes by
speeds
quicker.
up, yeah, as you get older. And I think it's
Mhm.
a shame to watch some of these people just sit on the couch and watch, you know, Jeopardy or Wheel of Fortune every night
Mhm.
with their
Mhm.
dinner, and then we go to bed, and then did you poop or not, and is there another doctor's appointment, and that's all their whole world entails. And I know it's hard to get out, but I really encourage people to make well, it's hard right now with COVID, but when COVID's over, to make new friends, to have like book clubs and things
Mhm.
you go and do, even if it's just at the senior center or something like that. It's important, it's key to keep active.
Yeah, and you talk about this in the book about meeting new friends, and you don't have to like be best friends, but because you know you're kind of a private person, and I'm kind of a private person, so I understand that. So when I was reading that, I was like, oh yeah, that's Servat. She'll go, but she's not going to be too cozy with everybody. But what you're
No.
saying is just get out and meet other people, and it changes your attitude. Just getting out of the house changes your attitude lately. I would
Right,
say that, you know.
right,
Um, you
right.
know, I want to say something because I really feel like it's the spiritual. Here's what blows my mind. When people get older and they're not spiritual or they don't talk about God, because it's like, dude, you're getting older. Maybe you should connect. You know, I mean, maybe this might be the time, but
Yeah.
I don't see a lot of that. And that freaks me out because I look at things now, and this is because I've done so much spiritual work. Now I look at things differently. I think, we are so blessed to be here in these bodies. We get to be here in these bodies and we get to experience and we get to check out life every day. You get to go on your walks. I get to do my show. We get to
Right.
do some stuff that we really love. And we are so blessed to be able to do it. And we don't like think that way. We
Well,
don't realize how cool this really is that we're
yeah,
being able to do it.
I'm glad you feel that way. That's wonderful. But everybody has a different philosophy, and
Yeah.
I will appreciate it. I will respect it. There are a lot of people that think when you die, you're just dead. You know, that's
I know.
it. we're done.
That's sad. That's
A lot of people don't believe in a higher power at all, and some people do or don't. I think that, however, you know what, I respect any thing people believe, because that's up to them to understand that. And if they, and I'll respect that. You can't talk someone into um understand, you know, coming around to your way of thinking, if this is how they've thought all along. I
Mhm.
think it's important if they can find it, but you know, I'm going to defer to whatever they believe. I'm not going to try to, you know, it's our way of it. I once had Rumi, I think, said it. It's the moon is up there. How you point at the moon is nobody's business. You know, how you find that or whatever you find, you know, that's kind of, I'm paraphrasing obviously, but
Mhm.
it's kind of, it's about the moon. It's not about how you're looking at it or how you're showing it to somebody. So
Mhm.
if they find it, great. But you know, and if it's a Buddhist path or a Christian path or a Jewish path, it
Mhm.
doesn't matter if it's all in your
That's
own.
what I think, as long as you find it though.
Yeah.
I just, I don't know. There's so much more. I think we're a lot of people are
Yeah.
closed-minded. So maybe
Well,
that's, yeah.
but let me just say one thing. I think that we're all here, like you're happy to be here. Where I come from,
Oh no, I'm not happy to be here. I'd rather be up there.
yeah, where I come from, they wear black when babies are born, and they wear white when people pass, and they at funerals, and they wear red for weddings. So, but that's because so everybody's on their own spiritual journey,
That's true.
and some people's spiritual journey hasn't evolved to the place where they can actually connect with that source, and they might in several million other lifetimes. But and so I kind of respect that too, because you
Yeah,
can't take someone who's in kindergarten and expect them to be in high school.
I agree.
Now, so I kind of leave them to their own. It's not our job to police other people's paths. I
True,
don't think.
true.
I think,
But don't you think it's important that we enlighten people and tell them that there's a different way, that there's a different
there's
path?
there's a difference
That's,
between
yeah,
sharing an experience and
yes,
opening people's eyes to things
yes,
than
yes.
to recruiting them into some kind
Yeah,
of.
no, I just think everybody should be aware. That's all. I think.
And I think that if they're, see, if you try to make someone who's aware that's not there yet, that doesn't matter anyway. They're not gonna, you know,
Mhm. They gotta get there on their own.
exactly.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
know,
All right.
and certain people might help them, but that's why, you know, so many people can write so many spiritual books. It's because everybody's saying the same thing. There's only, you know, so many, it's the truth is the truth, and it's been around for a gazillion years. Marcus
Mhm.
Aurelius wrote Meditations, the book Meditations, in the year 200 and something, you
Right.
know. So all of these things, James Allen wrote As a Man Thinketh in the 1920s or something, and it's all the same. It's all, you, law of retraction, whatever you want to call it, it's all the same thing. It's all been said, but some people hear it differently, and then they get it, and or something will, the flip of the switch happens however it's going to happen, and it's very individual. So I think people have to find that what works for them.
Right. Hey, I want to say we only got a couple minutes left, but you guys talk about how people in their 70s and 80s are at the top of their game. And I've seen a lot of that. I mean, gosh, you know,
Mhm.
Trump is in his 70s and look what he's, you know, he's still going strong. And there's a lot of different people out there who are older. Can you talk about that really quick?
Well, you know, yeah, I think so many people have reached the pinnacle of their success, because we're not all early bloomers, and some of
Yeah,
us don't even start until, you know, Colonel Sanders didn't start Colonel Sanders
I
chicken
know.
until he retired and figured out he couldn't live on his retirement. You know, here he's getting Social Security, so he started some. So I do believe it's never too late,
I agree.
your life to live as you choose, and that you can start and do and be anything you want to be, reinvent yourself in a given second. That's all it takes.
That's
You
wonderful advice, Sir.
make up your mind and do it.
Yeah, that's wonderful advice. Hey, thanks for coming on today.
Hey, thank you for
I
having me.
appreciate it. You guys, it's called Growing Old Sucks, but it doesn't have to. This is her book. Servette, how do people get in touch with you?
Well, they can go to servettehassan.com. It's just my name.com. There's also a website, growingoldsucks.com, if you want
Cool.
to find out more about the book. Mark Allen also does a live Facebook every week on Cooking with Mark Allen and talks about the book and new recipes. And it's a fun little thing he does. And that's on that website, growingoldsucks.com. And you can get the book on Amazon.
All right, fantastic. Thanks for coming on today.
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate it. Hey, you guys, until next week, this is Nancy Yearout. Have a terrific week, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.
Connect the dots and keep the motion. Can achieve your goal. Let's hit the higher road.
Hey, you guys, join me next week on The High Road for more stories filled with wisdom, love, and hope for our future. Have a fabulous week, and know that by staying on the high road, you will make it to your destination. Visit my website, nancyyearout.com, where you can book a private session to learn how to tap into your own abilities. And check out my YouTube channel. It's Nancy Yearout's High Road to Humanity.
You can achieve your goal.